Joining me now is Miss Sheena Collier, the founder and CEO of Boston While Black. Sheena, we thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Sheena, you have worked very hard to build a network that makes getting acclimated to Boston easier. And we both know that's not always an easy thing. And on top of that, you help make the process fun. I can say firsthand because I participated in Boston While Black when I first moved here 3 years ago. So I've seen it up close. And you've had much progress, much success with the ever growing family reunion. It was the fifth year that you celebrated in July. So congratulations there before we even get into any questions.
Thank you.
Now, one
Um,
of your, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I'm glad to hear that you were there amongst the thousands of people there.
Absolutely, yes. So I've seen it up close. So I understand why you've been able to not only retain members, but continue to get new members as
Yeah,
it goes on. And a group like this is so important in Boston. So I love to see it grow and continue to get new eyes, and you have new people learning about it every day. So I think that that is awesome.
thank you.
Um, One of your latest projects, it actually involves tackling the real life impact of Black unemployment figures, specifically the rise in those unemployment numbers for Black women in the US. Talk to me about what Boston While Black is doing in this space.
Yeah, well, again, thank you for having me and inviting us to be a part of this conversation. I think that um, folks do really know us for things like the reunion and even our membership. But our mission around helping Black people connect, build networks, and find belonging has always had a professional aspect to it. A major part of many of our lives in any city is what we're doing for work and the networks that we have. Now, specifically, particularly over the past couple of months, I kept seeing these headlines about, I don't even know what the number is now, but over 300,000 Black women that are facing unemployment nationwide. It hit home for us. Black women are the largest part of our membership at Boston While Black. And we know that belonging is tied to economic growth. You can't thrive in a city if you don't have access to the jobs and networks and resources. And so, what we're doing now is really, I would just say, a sharper focus of things that we've already been doing. We've always had, even from back in the pandemic, as you mentioned, we just turned 5, our virtual co-working Fridays that we would do. We've expanded it to do a quarterly in-person co-working with one of our partners, CIC. And so we are doing one this month based off of just what we see going on around us to really not only provide this space, but have career workshops, networking, and also introduce or kind of reintroduce a career center that we launched at the top of the year.
Now, I know you mentioned that maybe for some people who are not already involved with Boston While Black, we know a big focus of BWB is helping others to build relationships and find their tribe. And part of that is the professional networking aspect. But some people may be surprised to see you in this economic space. I think it's wonderful. You talked a little bit about it in your previous answer here, but can you talk to me about what inspired you to get involved? Because I think that right now it feels like the world is on fire, right? So we're seeing all these headlines constantly. And I think sometimes it's hard not only for people, but for organizations to know, well, what part can I play? Because we all have a role to play in some sense, but it can be hard to narrow down like, what's my role? How do I help? So, what helped you get inspired to get involved in this capacity?
Yeah, we have this phrase that we use sometimes at BWB that people come here for jobs, but they stay for community. And, even in my own story that led to me launching Boston While Black, I came here for grad school, stayed for my career, but the community that I built is what really grounded me and kept me in Boston. Boston, as you mentioned, is not always an easy place to navigate. And so it just was really important for me to build my network and in turn, that helped me to continue to build my career because I was meeting people that could help me, to get the next opportunity. And so I think that, we're really just meeting the moment by leaning into what we already do well: community, co-working, networking, belonging. I think in particular, grounding it in cities because if people don't have the resources, the information, the professional networks, they're going to seek out other places, and that's really been our message through BWB the whole time, is that particularly in a changing world where you have remote work,
Hmm.
have a lot of options around where you can be. You can be right now living in Atlanta and working in for a Boston company and making a Boston salary. And so, there it's really important for cities and the companies that power those cities, as well as city and state government, together with partners like Boston While Black, to really help people to unlock the opportunities in that city, if we want to keep people here. And so I know that again, when you see a number like 300,000 plus Black women being impacted in this time, for us, it's not just a number, it's our members, it's the people at the family reunion, it is the people that come to our How to Boston While Black Summit. Like, this is a lot of who makes up the community of Boston While Black. And so we wanted to, in the ways that we already know how to do. We're just leaning into where our expertise is already, is to be able to really move people from the connections that we've been doing the last 5 years, to real opportunity. And we've done it along the way. We have a number of corporate partners. We have an app and a digital community where people are sharing jobs all the time. And so we're just really want to amplify it more, make sure people understand that we could be a resource in this time.
And what are you seeing on the ground as far as Baltimore Black? Because Baltimore Black is a huge network. To your point, you have the app, but we're interacting in person because you have the reunion, but you have the gala and you have panels and you have things going on throughout the year. But like following this announcement and learning of these numbers and the 300,000 plus, just curious, like have you seen anyone up close that's been impacted? Or we're all 6 degrees of separation at this point. So I'm just curious what you're seeing on the ground in terms of impacts so far.
Yeah, some of the driver, even for this um, co-working event, we also on our app are launching something called industry badges so that people can immediately identify people they want to network with. I mentioned the Career Center. Some of the reasons, other than those stats, was because I actually on LinkedIn was seeing a number of our members saying that they had lost jobs. We have our digital space, but we also interact with our members in other spaces. And I kept commenting and like redirecting them back to Boston While Black, like make sure you share this in the community. And so, obviously LinkedIn is somewhere that's built for professional networking. So sometimes
Hmm.
people feel more comfortable saying things like that in that space. So, I was seeing it happen, and letting my team know and kind of alerting them to like, I think we need to step into this conversation. And then because we've built this tight-knit community over the last 5 years, we started to have members actually come to us because they know that we have relationships with companies in the city. And frankly, just because they have relationships with us and often are sharing with us kind of some of the things that they're experiencing. And so we had one member in particular who just in the last 3 weeks was laid off from her role, and is in the kind of healthcare and wellness space, and was coming to us to find out, do we have companies that maybe we can introduced directly to, other than folks just going on a website and kind of blindly applying. So it is very much real and reverberating throughout our community. We are hoping in the near future, because we have this digital space, to be able to host some live sessions with some of our companies who are hiring. And then I'll say, even on the corporate side, companies have reached out to us. So again, we have our career center, which is essentially a job board. We have things like our summit where there's a career fair, but companies are like, how else can we get in front of your members? You know,
Hmm.
and I think it's a strange time for many reasons. But one of those reasons is because you see these large numbers, and then you also see companies who are like, we're looking for talent still. And so we're trying to be that connector, and help people, these two sides that are trying to find each other, be able to make those connections. I think just like our members trust us, the companies we partner with do too.
Okay, and I just want to make sure I give you space to explicitly talk about the co-working event, the industry badges, and the career
Mhm.
center, just so that people know exactly, because they've been mentioned, but I don't
Yeah.
want to take for granted that people know, and then that way, if they want to also become a part of Boston Law Black, but I just want them to really understand because those are great resources. So if you could just kind of give us more details on each.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So the BWB Career Center, I'll start with kind of what's just accessible to everyone. At bostonwhileblackcareers.com is something that we launched as a way to centralize job opportunities and really give the companies that we've had partnerships with a centralized place to post opportunities, and then also not just our members, but anyone who's seeking a role to be able to build a profile and reach out directly to companies. I think the benefit of it, because there are many job boards that exist, is that the companies that are posting on here know who our target audience is. And so they are looking specifically for talent and trying to diversify their work pool. And I think for the job seekers who are posting on there, they know that this is a company that has somewhat of a cosign from Baltimore Black. And they're able to, especially if it's someone who's a member, we're able to at times put in a good word for them. As far as the industry badges, it's connected to our membership. So, we've run this membership for the past 5 years, but in particular, we launched something this summer called BWB Digital, actually at the family reunion, and just a way to make membership more accessible. So it's just a different tier of membership where you get access to the full benefits of the app and really are able to, if you sometimes we hear from folks that they don't have the time or the capacity to come to a lot of events. And so we're trying to power more of the online experience. And so the industry badges is something when people sign up, they're able to identify either the industry they work in or they're interested in. And then it's a 24/7, social network just for our members to be able to connect with each other, not just professionally, but as I mentioned, we're putting more of a emphasis on that.
Is there anything that you would like to add that you think is important for folks to know that I did not ask you specifically?
Everyone that you need to know or be connected with is in Baltimore Black or connected to someone outside of Baltimore Black. And we really have created this safe space where people feel comfortable saying what they need. So I'm looking forward to us helping to change the narrative, in the small way that we can of these numbers that we know are indicative of what's going on in the larger economy. And so we're hoping that, we can play a part, at least here in Boston, to be able to change that story.